Welcome, Future Shapers! You've just tuned in to the nexus of inspiring leaders who share their successes and their failures. Insights that will motivate, educate, and illuminate your path to a very bright future. Welcome to Shaping the Future podcast. Here's your host, Gregg Kell.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Gregg Kell, your host of Shaping the Future podcast. Today, we have as our guest Peter Kell, my son, who is the CEO of Adventure Media, a direct marketing expert and guru. Tell us, Peter, a little bit about your background.
Well, thanks for having me on, Greg. I got into online business about 6 years ago. Did the typical entrepreneur journey where you just start and fail and start and fail and start and fail, and finally was able to move into the more of a right direction into the affiliate marketing space, and got myself around the right people, and eventually moved towards just total direct response. So what we do is mostly in the health and beauty industry, spend a lot of money on Facebook advertising, on Google advertising, and it's all direct response, spend $1 to make $1 type deal.
Excellent. Tell me, Peter, a little bit about your background in terms of what are you most passionate about today?
Yeah, so I'm super passionate about direct response. I'm not an SEO fan. I'm a paid advertising fan, mainly because it's just fast paced. It's very video game like, where you spend $1 to make $2, and it's very scalable. So anything in the direct response industry, paid advertising, I'm super passionate about. I love meeting entrepreneurs, and I love doing talks, and anything I can do to help other people grow their business is just me and the game. Love it.
Excellent. So over the last 6 years, you started in the online world. You have moved into and built expertise in the direct response world. Yeah. I understand, however, that this has not been a straight line. Your life has not been a straight curve right up to success. There has been some failures in your professional career. Tell me about the one single biggest failure.
The one single biggest one was definitely a software company I started in Las Vegas. I quit my job to start this thing. I thought we had investors lined up. Long story short, the partner I had, that didn't work out, and it just resorted in just hitting rock solid, rock bottom, and eventually made me kind of move into what I knew my true passion was affiliate marketing. So yeah, that was a fun one.
Sometimes, Peter, I understand that as we're seeking to shape our future, it doesn't turn out the way that we think it will. Yeah. But there's lessons to be learned by the ups and the downs. What lessons did you learn from that experience?
The biggest lesson I learned was you are who your friends are. And that's when it really kicked into me, because right at my rock bottom, I was reading some Tony Robbins, and I read that quote, "You are your friends are." And I was like, okay, I've heard that before, but I'm an entrepreneur. All my friends are entrepreneurs. And then when I looked a little bit closer, I kind of realized, everyone that I hang out with is just kind of a broke entrepreneur. They're like a newbie entrepreneur, just like me. I got 5 broke entrepreneur friends, and I'm the 6th one. And the kind of lesson that I realized at this rock bottom state was I really don't have anyone who's getting the results that I want to make online as a close friend that I talk to on a daily basis. I don't have anyone in my network. So that little insight kind of propelled me to dive a lot deeper into networking and hunting down and creating these new just kind of friends. And that was definitely the biggest lesson that I learned.
Peter, you coming out of the depths of your rock bottom, you recognize it's important to gather the right people around you that have the right qualities, the right direction, and the right business sense. You built those people around you, and that propelled you. How did that experience help you become the success that you are today?
Honestly, it was everything, and it wasn't just finding someone with the right mindset or with the right, go-getter attitude. It was very strict. It was like, are you making X amount of dollars online? Did you make it yesterday? Did you make it last week? Did you make it, are you doing it right now? And it's very results oriented. And that was everything, because through the quest of finding this group, I started a mastermind where I could gather together these couple guys, and it was an online mastermind. So they could be anywhere in the world. And through that quest, I ended up finding some people who were doing 10 times more, which was the goal that I had. And they ended up joining the mastermind. And through networking with them, I was able to jump on board their team and just develop the skill sets, because in the end, it's the skills that kind of pay the bills.
It seems to me, Peter, that the direct marketing world is totally a performance-based world. You either, one day you're swinging from a chandelier, the next day you're digging from a ditch. But in either way, you're totally accountable for results. Is that correct?
If you're an entrepreneur, that's how it is for everyone.
It takes some courage, though, to be that accountable.
It does take some courage. It takes courage, but it's not as scary as, not trying in the first place. That's way more scary.
A piece of wisdom for the shaping of the future nation. Peter, we believe that discipline and focus enhances productivity. How has discipline and focus produced success in your life today?
Focus is the number one. The 80-20 rule, there's only a handful of things in your life that if you accomplished would knock down the majority of your goals. It's kind of like dominoes, like a very good question that helped me was, what's the one biggest domino that if I knocked over would knock over all the other goals that I had in my life? And by just focusing all your efforts on knocking down that one thing that would make the biggest impact, like who's the one client that would just make the biggest impact on your business, or who's the one partner that if you had would blow everything up. Just there's a handful of few little things, the vital few, that just make the biggest difference. So focusing and having the discipline to focus on that is really, that's how you move forward. That's how you continue to grow.
Discipline with focus yields productivity and growth. All right. Now we are leading into the lightning round. We're going to have some quick questions, some quick answers. Remember back, Peter, when you just getting started off the business, you were thinking about it, but hadn't yet pulled the trigger. What was holding you back from being a successful entrepreneur at that time?
First off, you gotta practice. You're gonna suck at playing the guitar every time. Everyone does when they first pick it up. So there's nothing you can do at the beginning when you suck. But once you have a little bit of skills, it's the people you're around. It just comes down to the people that you're around on a daily basis.
So you are the people that you're around. Excellent. Tell me, what is the best advice from either a business or a personal perspective that you've ever received?
The best advice, there's a couple of quotes that I live by. First off, it's not over till I win. That one was able to get me through a lot of hard times. But the best advice is one that goes by, find the person who's where you're going to be 10 years from now today. So if you could think forward, and I'm 27 right now, I imagine, who am I going to be at 37? If I find that person today and become friends with him, the amount of advice that they can give you is just absolutely extraordinary. And it's like saying, what if you could step outside and run into the 17-year-old version of yourself and you had all day to talk to them? Like, think about the advices you could give that person. And that's the same thing today. Is there someone out there who's 10 years ahead of you? And just meeting them could probably be the biggest, most impactful thing to move you forward that I can possibly imagine.
Attention, future shapers, that is a future shapers bomb. What would it be like to meet that person that you'll be 10 years from now? Or better yet, find that person is who you aspire to be and be friends with them. Learn from them. Mentor with them. That is Peter's suggestion. Peter, I know there's a lot of choices in the online world, but share with us one internet resource that you find really valuable.
Well, if you're going in the affiliate space, stackthatmoney.com is the number one. It's the best place, along with madsociety.net. Those are two forums online. It's $100 a month for guys that are serious. I'm not affiliated with them at all. I don't get paid for saying that, but it is hands down the best place to learn how to do well with affiliate marketing. But that's the expertise that I would like to stick to.
Peter, I know that you're a reader. What book would you recommend to the Future Shapers Network that is listening, and why?
The most impactful books we're Think and Grow Rich, number one, Psycho-Cybernetics, number two, which is all about the subconscious mind and your identity and how that is pretty much the reason why you're going to achieve whatever you achieve. And finally, the last book that I read before I had some success is Conversations with God from Neil Donald Walsh. That was the last book I read before things started working. And there was a lot of powerful insights in there that kind of just pushed me in the right direction. It was really weird. It was totally, you think that the ideas would come from marketing books, but it was really from a lot of these mindset books that would make things work.
Excellent, Peter. I know you've had some successes in life, some less than successes in life that led you to where you are now. But right now, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing now in your business career?
Well, we just opened an office in Lake Worth. We just hired a new employee. It's just growing, just focusing on just doubling the high score. I believe everyone has a daily, weekly, monthly high score. Like that's the amount of money they made in a certain day or in a week, in a month. And my whole focus is just what's the few things I can do that will make a drastic step forward towards achieving that goal. So yeah, it's always a challenge. It's always a new problem, a new adventure that we're going down. And yeah, I really love it.
So it sounds to me as though you have some growth and some direction that you're going on, but you're applying the key resources of discipline and focus to overcome those challenges. In fact, you're setting some very high goals and, in fact, competing to achieve those goals. We at Future Shapers understand that it's the simple actions, the habits that over time work together to result in an excellent future. What are you doing right now to shape your future?
I mean, every day I set goals. Every day I write my goals down, and that's the biggest thing. It's just where you're going. And affirmations too. I'm very big into affirmations, and I don't just write my goals down like I want to make this much money. It's you imagine this life that you're creating, and you write down as if you're that person who's already achieved it. So I would go, for example, if I'm focusing on trying to make $20,000 in a month, I don't go, I want to make $20,000 a month. You don't go, I write, I am making $20,000 a month easily and consistently. I am easily and consistently making $20,000 a month. And I write that down probably like 100 times. I just go into this little trance. If you write it as if it's already happened and you imagine this life that a truer version of yourself, where the true version is achieving this goal and this kind of less evolved version of you is still not achieving the goal. So you separate it that way. But yeah, definitely goal setting is number one, because it all comes down to goal achieving in the end. It's achieving the goal that you set, whether it's the house or car or whatever.
Peter, I'm very impressed with how your life has changed over the last couple of years, but I'm even more impressed by the man that you will become in 5 years. Tell me about that man. Tell me about that business, that individual that Peter will be 5 years from now when you look in the future.
Yeah, so I did that little lesson that I found. There's a guy named Kevin Harrington. He was on Shark Tank. He sold hundreds of millions of dollars direct response with the infomercial. He invented that. Honestly, I feel like that, who is kind of a version of me, if I was obsessed with marketing and I stayed obsessed for the next 10, 20 years, I think that's the type of guy I would end up turning into. So I'm like going through his stuff right now, learning about what he's doing. I really think it'd be fun to have some sort of marketing empire that does dozens and dozens of millions in revenue a year. I think that'd be really fun. And I got tons of time. We have an office in Lake Worth. We're ready to grow. And if I could pick or choose anything, I think moving into that world would be ideal.
Excellent. Peter, what big advice as we're heading to the close can you share with the Future Shapers audience? Wisdom from Peter Kell.
If you're new and you're into cars, the best advice is find the guy who's driving the car you want to drive and do whatever it takes to partner with them. Do whatever it takes to join their team. Because the guys that are doing these insane numbers, they know how to do it. And you can skip this massive learning process by just partnering with the guys and having them kind of show you and giving them giving them a large chunk and even working for them for free in order to learn this information. Because in the end, skills are worth way more than the money in the end, because the skills are what generate the money. So Find someone who drives the car you want to drive and do whatever it takes to partner with them. If you have a business that's already going, start a mastermind. Start a group of guys who, like I said, are achieving the results, who you're not competing directly against, but everyone's doing a very similar thing. So if you have a restaurant, get together a group of 7 guys in a Skype group that all own restaurants in different cities. So you're not competing, but you can all join on the calls once a week and talk about ideas that can move you forward. Talk about ways to make more money, grow, make your customers come back more.
Future Shapers, we have heard some excellent wisdom, advice, and life history from Peter Kell, the CEO of Adventure Media. Peter, how could people hook up with you, contact you?
Honestly, Facebook is the best way for me. Facebook.com/Peter.Kell, Kell. If you want to connect, reach out to me there. That's the best way. Instagram is ZIPPI101. Those are the 2 places that are best to connect with if you want to reach out.
Thank you, Peter, for your time sharing with Shaping the Futures podcast. And to all of our future shapers that are listening today, take action to diligently create your future. You will become the man or woman that you yearn to be. This is Gregg Kell signing off. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for joining this episode of Shaping the Future podcast. We leave you, future shapers, with this challenge. Act boldly today to shape your future, because if you don't, it will absolutely be shaped for you.